Hi everybody, it's Matt from Lifefoods here, recording a quick video to explain to you about our cacao products and why they're so special and in a league of their own. It really is the best cacao you can get in the entire world, and I'll explain to you why that's so, because our cacao really does have an incredible story behind it, and just nothing out there competes with our cacao and the quality of the product that we are putting out there for our customers. But I really wanted to make sure we educate our customers who are buying our cacao so they really do know why it's so fantastic. The first thing I want to say is 100% raw organic, certified organic. We go through a certification process to guarantee you that you're getting an organic product. So that's the first point. And raw is the next thing. It's really important. I'll talk about the raw element in a moment because that's one of the key things I want to get across to you in this video. The type of cacao we have is from Ecuador in South America. It's called the Aribba Nacionale cacao. That's the type of cacao. I'll go into more detail about that in a moment. But I call it the real cacao because there's a lot of fake low-grade cacao getting pushed around by companies, superfood companies even, and it's just really not very good quality stuff. So you have to be super careful that you're buying real cacao because the benefits are just vast and varied depending on the quality that you get. So what we'll discuss in this short video is to beware that most cacao is not actually raw. Now this might shock you and make you a little bit angry, whatever the response might be, but I'm just going to tell you the truth, that a huge amount of the cacao getting sold around the world by superfood companies claiming it to be raw is in fact not raw. I know a lot about the cacao industry and in particular the raw organic cacao industry, which is really the best stuff. And I can tell you, unfortunately, majority of it's not raw. Even though people put it on their labels, companies put it on their labels saying, yeah, it's raw, it's raw. I can tell you right now, most of it's not raw. And the reason for that is when companies are buying these products off a lot of companies in South America, they are actually roasting the cacao. So they roast it, which is not raw. Raw, as you know, is if you roast something really hot, it's certainly not a raw product any longer. It's much higher than 47 degrees Celsius, which is really the cutoff point for raw. But majority of companies producing cacao, especially out of South America, out of your likes of Peru and a lot of other countries around the world as well, most countries around the world who are selling cacao, they're roasting it. You can see it plain as day on their production schedule. They say, yes, we roast it. I know for a fact that some of the biggest companies selling raw, and I say that in inverted commas, raw cacao, is not actually raw because I've spoken to the suppliers that they're getting it from, and they're saying, no, it's not raw. And they go ahead and put it on their label. And I just think it's terrible that people are doing this and deceiving the general public. So you need to find out if the cacao you're buying is really raw. And if you're buying it from Lifefoods, it most definitely is raw. So that's the first point I need to get across to you because I think it's really important. Our variety of cacao is what you call an heirloom or heirloom versus a hybrid cacao cruise. We'll talk a bit more about details in these in a moment and talk about our cacao process. So we looked at it. Most cacao is not raw. It's roasted or gas dried to dry it and speed up the production process. People roast it in ovens, so they heat it up really fast, and they can do this with gas drying as well. Either way, whatever way you choose, if you're doing this, you're heating the product and you're damaging the product. It's not a raw product any longer, and you will lose a lot of the health benefits of that. So you need to be really careful of that. Even if a company has raw written on the label, ask them to prove that to you because I guarantee they'll probably struggle. So that's what happens. A lot of it's just roasted. Big chocolate companies use cacao, but it's just really not the same because this stuff is just roasted so high temperatures that it's just you're not left with the quality raw product anymore. And unfortunately, most superfood companies are not providing raw quality cacao either. Even though they're superfood companies, so you need to be really careful of that. Our cacao is 100% raw. It's the Arriba Nacionale cacao. It's from Ecuador, and there's a picture there of drying fields that you can see the cacao drying on in the sun. So it's not roasted. It's not roasted in ovens or using hot gas dryers to dry the cacao out at high temperatures. So ours is a natural process that we use. It's coming from heirloom trees. I'll talk about that in a moment. And it's sun-dried. Really, really important. Never gas-dried, ever. The other thing you want to be aware of is the heirloom variety of cacao. Ours is not a hybrid tree. A lot of cacao produced and being sold around the world comes from a form of a hybrid cacao tree, which is called a CCN51, and it's essentially poor, low-quality cacao. They grow smaller trees, they grow a lot faster, and most of the cacao sold in the world is from the low-quality cacao trees, these CCN51 trees. They grow fast, they're short trees, and they're just low nutrient cacao beans as the end result, and you want to stay well away from that sort of stuff. Might have the same name, but it's definitely not the same stuff as far as quality. So it's often mass produced on cacao farms. Our cacao is the Aribba Nacionale, and it's an heirloom cacao. It's from single origin from Ecuador, and it gets collected on donkey back, believe it or not. Actually, locals in Ecuador who my supplier gets it from, they'll actually go on donkey back and collect the stuff. It's not farmed. There's no farming. There's no mass production farming, putting trees down, these short, stumpy things that grow quickly just to get, make more money faster. That's not how our cacao is operating. It's from high elevation. It's grown in high elevation, mineralized volcanic soil, so it's very mineral rich soil that this stuff's growing in. And again, it's brought down by donkey back, so it's not farmed, it's collected. And some of the trees are old, a minimum of 30-year-old trees, some of them even up to 80 years old. So they're healthy trees and they're non-hybridized, so it's really important. And deep mountain spring water is how they're watered, how they get their water. The water is a really important part of anything, growing any organic product. And unfortunately, water is not something that's monitored heavily by organic certifying companies. So you can actually use really dirty, unclean water and still be certified organic, which again is a real tragedy because that gets into the product. Obviously, the water does. But our water, the water for the cacao that we get from is clean, very clean water, deep mountain spring water. So again, it just adds to why our cacao is so fantastic. We've got an heirloom variety of cacao from old trees. They're not farmed, but they're collected, and it's mineralized volcanic soil, and it's from deep spring water, and it's raw. The whole process is raw. Then the pods are selected. They're never acquired by big aggregators. They're harvested only when they're fully mature as well, so they're not harvested when they're not mature and then sprayed like some industries do. They spray something to make it look more mature or speed up the maturing process. It was just not done. And it's 100% raw. It's never heated over 47 degrees Celsius from start to finish, and it's organically certified. And collected, not farmed, which I mentioned. And it exceeds fair trade. It's not fair trade certified, but I know the supplier very well. He's a friend of mine living in Ecuador. And his company treats not only his own workers exceptionally well and pays them very, very well for the local rates, but also supports the local community of people going in on donkey back into their own jungles, into the jungle areas around Ecuador where they are, and collecting it. So it's a very ethical process. I just want to show you some photographs of sort of behind the scenes, I guess you like, of the cacao that my supplier is actually a good friend of mine has sent through. So there's a picture of a cacao pod, as you can see on this is an heirloom variety of Arriba Nacionale, non-hybridized, certified organic cacao, and that's on an old tree. So you can see it's a very healthy looking cacao pod, isn't it? You can see the vibrant colors in it. I'll show you a couple more things. This is a local area where you can see it gets the water I mentioned was from deep underground springs and rivers. So this is the sort of freshness of this area where the cacao is coming from, that the trees get watered from. So there's no polluted irrigation systems or anything like that being used, which again just adds to the quality of the cacao, the finished cacao product that you're getting. Here's a picture of another bigger shot of the drying fields of where the cacao is dried from our supplier in Ecuador. So you can see they're laid out outdoors on just large drying fields to dry in the sun. This is really, really important because what you'll find is most suppliers and people selling cacao, they won't have drying fields because they don't dry it naturally, slowly over time in the sun, which is a very natural process. what they'll be doing is roasting them in ovens or gas dryers. So if you ask for evidence that the product is raw, one of the most obvious questions is, can you please show us, a real picture of your drying fields? And you'll probably get people going, yeah, can I get back to you on that one? Because they don't have any, because they don't dry them on drying fields properly, because they're not doing the right thing and selling raw cacao. That's just one of the processes. There's other areas on the production of cacao that you need to make sure it's still raw, but this is just the most obvious point. People are just not drying them properly on drying fields. They're just mass producing them, cooking them, roasting them, and ruining the cacao. Here's a shot of some of these. These are just real cacao trees in the jungle in Ecuador, and you can see a cacao pod up there, a younger one, still yellowish color. But these are just wildly grown. There's no farms. This is just in the jungle. This is where the locals go to pick it up from the jungle. So it's pretty incredible. It's just wild grown stuff in the jungles around Ecuador, and it's getting collected, not farmed. Here's a local community that goes in on donkey back into their local area and collects it. So that's just a typical sort of community area. Just got a photo of that for you, of a typical house. There's a picture actually of my friend who runs the whole operation in Ecuador. He's a buddy of mine, and he runs it. He lives there. He oversees the whole operation to make sure it's done ethically and properly, and make sure it's done raw. So I have a very, very strong relationship with my supplier, who is this gentleman on the screen here. You can see he's a friend of mine. So hence why I know so much about our cacao, and I know for sure that it's raw, it's the real deal, it's the best quality. Which again, just it should give our buyers confidence when buying through Lifefoods, because we're just going to the best source that you can possibly get. And just to recap, obviously some of the benefits are iron, magnesium, antioxidants found in the cacao, amongst other things. But remember, you want to have a raw product that's not damaged, and a high quality product. And for all the reasons that I mentioned in this short video, Lifefoods cacao products, so cacao powder, the butter, the nibs, are all from this source of cacao, which I've been talking about. So you really are getting the best cacao in the world. So I wanted to create this video though to explain why we have the best cacao, so that you guys, why what we do and how we do it, and why we're delivering the best product in the world that we can. I hope you found this video interesting and helpful, and I appreciate your time. And thanks so much for supporting Lifefoods. We really value your business. Bye for now.